Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Muriel Bowser, Mayor of Washington, D.C. Today, we're at the beautiful wharf in Washington, D.C. I'm joined by the Chief of Police, the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice, members of my public safety team, and members of my cabinet. Specifically, Thenie Freeman, who is the Director of the Department of Parks and Recreation, Director Morris Hughes, who is the Director of the Department of Employment Services, and other great DC team members. So together, our team works every day to keep our city safe. Our young people safe is keeping our young people safe is always a top priority. In fact, later today, we're kicking off our pool season. Summer camps will be underway in a few weeks, and recreation centers are open across the city, so DPR stays busy. And of course, our young people are in school through mid-June. But we want to be clear and transparent about why we're here today. That is because we have seen some concerning trends with how our young people are socializing, and those changes in behavior also require us to change our posture. So we know that young people want to be around one another. That's how teenagers are. That's the nature of teenagers. Some of them are breaking the law, however, and others of them are doing menacing behaviors and activities around the city. So our challenge for families and communities has always been to create safe spaces for teens, safe places for them to be together as well. So I am grateful that DPR has come up with events like the late night hypes and late night drips to keep young people engaged throughout the evening. In this weekend, DPR is activating Holiday Hype, where Banneker will be activated Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., and that's the Banneker Recreation Field. They'll have music, food, games, and a range of activities for teenagers. So if your kid is looking for something to do this weekend, that will be a place where we are providing some programming. I'm also grateful that MPD has been flexible and resourced enough to adjust their posture often weekend by weekend, night by night. But we need and we will work together with our entire community to change the negative behaviors that we're seeing from some of our young people. I want to announce that I intend to work with our public safety team and the council to introduce legislation to update a few of our curfew policies. But first and foremost, I want to remind parents that they need to know where their kids are in the evenings, who they are with, and what they are doing. You need to know when they're coming home and how they're getting home. We also need parents to know what your kids are doing on their phones and on their social media. We want our young people to be safe. We want them to have positive interactions in the community. And we especially don't want young people who are just trying to do the right thing to get caught up in nonsense and have to be dealt with by the police. So as we head into the summer, let's work together to get this right. So I want to pass it over now to Director Freeman to talk about DPR's plans.
Oh, excuse me. Good afternoon. As a mother and a longtime DC resident, I understand the importance of what it is for youth to feel safe, what it means for them to have safe havens where they can come and be themselves, where they can naturally just be teens, dance, laugh, be silly, play ball, or just do nothing. We, along with the mayor, the chief, and the cabinet members have decided that DPR, when we host our late night hypes, we see 15 to 1,600 youth, and we have no incidents. They come, they have fun, and they go home. And so this week, we did holiday hype over the Christmas holiday, and it was exceptional. And so this weekend, we are re-implementing holiday hype so that our young people understand that we are here for them, to let them have fun safely.
Thank you, Director Freeman, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pamela Smith, Chief of Police for the Metropolitan Police Department. I'm going to reiterate what the mayor said. We need parents to know where their kids are and what they're doing and who they're with. As Chief of Police and as someone who has worked in public safety for nearly 3 decades, I believe one of the most important responsibilities we have is to our young people. As you know, youth are near and dear to my heart, but we need to protect them and we need to ensure that we're helping them to thrive. I believe that every child deserves a chance to grow into their full potential. What does that mean? That means creating safe spaces, opportunities, and the kind of structure that helps them to make good choices so they can grow into the best versions of themselves. Over the past several weekends, we've seen troubling pattern of large groups of juveniles gathering and engaging in disruptive and sometimes violent behavior. I've heard directly from parents, community members, business owners, and city leaders all sharing the same concerns. What we are seeing today is different from decades ago. Social media meetups, group chats, and viral challenges are shaping real-world behavior, and oftentimes without parents realizing it. But we need our parents, and we also need our adults, and we need our community to pay attention. Know what your kids are doing online. Talk to them about who they're spending their time with and how they're spending their time, and understand that videos posted in the afternoon can sometimes turn into large, unplanned gathering during the evenings, but also that holds very real life consequences. We've seen groups of juveniles causing disturbances, damaging property, jumping on tables in restaurants, causing affrays and fighting in public spaces, and even engaging in violent behavior. I will say it is all unacceptable, and we will not tolerate this kind of conduct or behavior. But what I also want our youth to hear very clear is that we want you to recreate and have fun, as Director Thiene stated, places and spaces where you can enjoy yourself and just be who you want to be. This weekend, the wharf, which is private property, and hear me really clear here, is instituting a juvenile curfew from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. each evening through beginning today through Tuesday, May 27th at 5 a.m. Anyone under the age of 18 must be accompanied by a parent, guardian, or authorized adult over 21 years old, unless they are attending an organized event or dinner. If a young person is here in this space on their own after 5 p.m., we're going to try to encourage them to leave. And if they choose not to, it could lead to an arrest of unlawful entry. We want our young people to enjoy everything our amazing city has to offer, from our parks and recreation centers to city-run events like Director Freeman mentioned with Late Night Hype and Beat the Streets. These are safe spaces and places where youth can come together to connect and engage. I also want to thank Director Freeman for helping us to find a place for our young people to recreate this evening. Banneker Rec Center is located at 2500 Georgia Avenue Northwest. The doors will open tonight beginning at 7 p.m. and we will end at 11 p.m. also to provide a safe space for our weekend, for our young people. Tonight and throughout the weekend, you will see a strong, visible presence of our officers across the city. And anyone who chooses to be disruptive will also be met with consequences. Unlawful behavior will result in an arrest regardless of age. We do have a comprehensive plan in place to ensure a safe and orderly Memorial Day weekend across the city. We are working alongside our DC government partners, community organizations, parents, local businesses in support of our youth and to keep our city safe. As a reminder, citywide curfews currently in place begin midnight on weekends and 11 p.m. on school nights. I want to thank everyone who has been stepping up to support us and to find a solution for a space where our young people can recreate and have fun and enjoy the weekend and evening hours throughout the week. Thank you.
Okay, we can take a few questions. Yes, Mark.
Bowser, you mentioned that you were going to send legislation to the council to you used the word update your curfew. What do you plan to change it to, and will it just be citywide changes or locations? And last year you did this, I believe, by declaring an emergency. This seems kind of like a different strategy.
We will introduce legislation, likely emergency legislation for the council's next session. More than my team told me not to say a date because we're going to work on it to get it. We need to talk to the council members so that we will be successful in moving this. But we're going to work expeditiously on it, Mark. And I would say that I've asked my team to look at every tool, and so it could be comprehensive, like you suggest, or it could be focused on. It could be more focused, but more than likely it will involve making the curfew times earlier.
Specific about the earlier time?
No, because we're still working on that.
I've heard a lot of neighbors and A&C commissioners ask for 7 or 8 p.m. Is that under consideration?
I would say that's safe to say that we're in the ballpark. That's in the ballpark. Yes.
Obviously, the changes at the wharf impacted this area, but I know talking to ANC commissioners in Navy Yard, they were hoping to see something similar. Is there anything being done there this weekend to help?
Yes, Chief.
With juveniles?
Yes, one of the things, again, we want people to come to our restaurants, our establishments. It's an amazing place for young people, for adults. What we're having our community outreach officers do today is really to spend some time talking to the businesses. What I would like to see, and I might be getting ahead of myself here, is also having our businesses create something so that there will be no trespassing after a certain hour, right? That will help us to be able to enforce any kind of challenging behavior that we may see with our young people. But it is my hope, let me stay positive in this space. It is my hope that with giving young people a space to go, such as the Banneker Recreation Center, it will defray some of this kind of conduct and behavior that we're seeing. But we do have our community outreach officers in place today, spending time talking to our businesses, because that's important. Yes, sir.
I believe the folks at National Harbor did a very similar thing in Prince George's County recently. Did Prince George's police give you a heads up that people may be coming here now instead?
So we have a very good relationship with Prince George's County Metro Transit Police Department, and we are all engaged. And when we see large groups of children coming to different areas across the city or even on the other side, we share that information so that we can pre-position or position our resources to be available to ensure that there's, when the kids are kind of in spaces and places, either they're not acting out, if that makes sense, and when they do act out, we're readily available to address the issue.
By chance, did they?
Like today?
No,
or when?
Just in the last couple of few weeks.
They have, yeah. We've had many conversations about, again, most of these young people travel either by Metro or by Uber, right? And so when Metro see large groups of young people entering the Metro station, they give us a heads up. They let us know which Metro station they're exiting from. Most of the time, they post a lot of this stuff on social media, or we get information from parents so that we can be prepared to address it. But the relationships, let me say this, with our law enforcement partners in this area is very, very tight, because I think all of us want to see the same thing, the misconduct reduced or not there at all. And more importantly, making sure that we're all, because we're seeing the same thing, right? I mean, it's in Virginia, it's here, it's there. And understand, too, it's not isolated to the District of Columbia. This is happening across the United States. And so this effort is to ensure that we want our children to show up differently, but we also want to make sure that we're giving them a place to do that.
Felicia Ashley, ABC 7. There are programs in the district for the youth. Are you all seeing that they are being utilized, and or is there more outreach being done to make sure the kids we hope do benefit from it are coming and showing up?
Well, if you heard Director Thenie Freeman say, when we have late night hype beat the streets, late night drip, we have almost 1,700 children and families to show up. And what I will say is that when they're in that space, we see nothing across our city. So again, giving them a place to stay, place to recreate is the best option for us right now.
I know when I spoke to some community members in Navy Yard, they mentioned they remember back in the day programs with that taught a lot of kids skills, whether it's mechanical work and things like that. Some say they feel it no longer exists. Has it been considered maybe bring back some programs that people felt were efficient, possibly back?
I bet you those same people didn't have kids going on their social media, having meetups about what time to meet, where to meet, having competitions with other regions, other states in the middle of the country and across the country. So I think it's important that our tactics have to evolve with the times. And not too many kids, I don't know, maybe they are doing like that type of training at 11 o'clock at night, but probably not. What they're doing in that time is trying to figure out what their friends are doing or taking pictures and streaming so they can get on. So the times have changed. They just have. And so for all of our neighbors with those ideas, I think what we're saying is we're doing that. We're just doing the 2025 version. And so as far as the other training that you're mentioning, that is usually kind of like our daytime programming, let me ask Director Morris Hughes to say a little bit more about some things that we have planned for kids.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. You'll be hard-pressed to find anywhere in the country that offers as many occupational skill, vocational training, arts training, hospitality training like the District of Columbia. You can look first at the Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program, which in its 46th year will serve a combined close to 15,000 young people with SYEP and now our junior SYEP, which is called the Career Ready Early Scholars Program. We also work with court-involved and justice-involved older youth through Project Empowerment. And then we have a really amazing nationally recognized DC Infrastructure Academy that some of our older youth can actively enroll in training programs now. All of this is going to be available this summer. If you want to learn more about it, you can visit does.dc.gov. How to apply, dates, opportunities is all listed on the website. Thank you.
Can we get some kind of explanation as to what is happening, what you're monitoring, in the sense of, you mentioned competition. So are kids basically just streaming each other and sharing it on social media? And then the follow-up also, Chief, I know it's going to come up. Just walk us through the arrest process, because involving teens, because most of the time people, don't understand what that means between an adult and a young person.
Sure, Chief.
Well, now what's your name again?
Raphael.
Who?
Raphael.
Now, Raphael, you know good and darn well, these kids are live streaming everything on Facebook. They're doing meetups, TikTok, Instagram. That and again, we attribute some of that to that COVID-like behavior, right? That's how they engage. I mean, back in the day, we probably talked to each other and met up, but now they're doing everything on social media. Sometimes we can find the information, sometimes we cannot, and we are very appreciative to the business leaders and family members who choose to share that information with us so we can get ahead of it. When you talk about the arrest procedure, it's no different, right, than when we would arrest any other individual. The difference is with juveniles, they go through a juvenile process, right? What we did last year, and we stood up this kind of sort of a pilot curfew program where we would if kids violated the curfew, we would pick them up and drop them off at YSC. A parent would be contacted to come and pick the young person up. If the young person was not picked up, they would then go over to DYRS. We do have children and CFSA also engaged in this process to ensure that parents do come and pick their children up. Because here's the thing, curfew violation, it's a violation, right? The intent is not to... For curfew violations, the intent is not to arrest them, right? We want them to be off our streets, to be safe. We give them a safe space to go. The parents have to come pick them up. If they don't, they will go to our DYRS facility. Is that fair?
that'll be the process that's implemented this time around.
That will be the process for any curfew violations. Any other violations is handled the way we would handle any other arrest. Okay. Did you ask a question already? Okay.
Some parents have said they just need help with their child. They doesn't listen. Are there any programs right now that doesn't necessarily lead to arrest, but this parent can't control their child or having challenges? This is who they can call or reach out to before the situation gets worse.
Well, I think that this government offers so many resources for our parents, even before they get to that process. We have DHS that offers many programs, Department of Human Services, which offers many programs for our young people. I can't recall what they are. If somebody behind me can, that would be great.
So one of the things that we would say, because we hear that a lot, is if our families reach out to CFSA, I met with Director Trice yesterday, you see some community members back here. We have great relationships with our collaboratives. And really how she described it as collaboratives are the front yard before you even get to the front door of our sort of government program. So if parents need help, that you can reach out to DHS, but I would also say reach out to CFSA, because we're going to work together. You heard in our announcement of the JRU over in Navy Yard that on the other side that we're working together to make sure that DHS, CFSA, DBH, all of our agencies that have programs that it's easy for families to access. So I would say that, and we're going to get them involved with community organizations, our collaboratives, or the right government agency to help them navigate through whatever is causing the turmoil or issues in their family.
Okay, we'll take a few more. Mark.
Maybe Chief Grooms is here. Maybe she can help us out. Could you give a little bit more explanation, maybe Chief Grooms, on exactly how it'll work here and define what the private property does it begin at the street, the sidewalk? Does it go to the water? I'm just kind of wondering exactly how.
Okay, Ms. Grooms is going to defer to the chief.
So how it has worked when we've had large numbers of children coming to this area and really displaying disorderly conduct. I've asked, it is private property. I've asked Chief Grooms at that time to announce a closure to the area for children under the age of 18 unless they're with an adult. When they do that, it gives the Metropolitan Police Department the opportunity to clear the area, have all young people clear the area, and 9 times out of 10, Mark, they have been cooperative in that aspect. When we ask them to move, they move. The problem is they leave this area and then they go across the street and then they go down to the Navy Yard and become disruptive. So again, giving them a safe space where they can recreate really helps to defray some of that kind of behavior. It will be a call at 5 p.m., I will say, over the loudspeaker here to say if you're under the age of 18, you need to clear the area. If you're not with a parent or guardian above the age of 18 or participating in an organized event that's taking place here at the wharf.
Is this something you might consider for other weekends or all summer?
So let me say this, because I asked them to do this. We will consider this all summer if it's necessary. Sir.
Chief Smith,
Yes,
one
sir.
of the things you mentioned was maybe increasing police patrols. The head of the police union this week wrote a scathing letter saying
I saw it.
Your reaction?
Yeah, I don't have one. There isn't a reason for me to react to that. My responsibility is to ensure that we provide safety around this city. I have the utmost respect for the members of the Metropolitan Police Department, our officers who come out here and do a great job every single day, every single week, and we will continue to support them in their efforts to do that. Sir.
Chief, obviously Wednesday's tragedy has some, groups on the edge only because we have a lot of events coming up, some groups perhaps targeted. Your advice as they're navigating, obviously you've increased your presence at places of worship, just how they navigate safety moving forward.
Well, one of the things that we're doing even right now is the FBI and the Metropolitan Police Department. I have one of my assistant chiefs meeting with some of the community leaders right now just to talk about exactly what that looks like. Again, the see something, say something has not gone anywhere. We want you, if you're seeing things that are happening across our city, to notify us. We will have an increased presence because Pride is coming up, World Pride is coming up. We have a good, robust plan can across our city. We're asking, again, if you're out in those spaces and you see something that's a little disturbing or concerning, to please let us know. We certainly, yesterday, the mayor met with the leaders of some of the faith-based organizations, again, to share our sentiments and condolences due to this tragic incident. But she also shared a supportive solidarity, right, with things that are happening, not just in our city, but across our nation. So here in D.C., we have a responsibility to make sure that we're keeping people safe, and we're going to do that. Sir.
On that same topic,
Which
suspect's hotel room in the district was identified and searched. Can you tell us anything about that, that the search of his hotel room, and if anything that you can tell us about being recovered, and if perhaps he had a car that has since been identified since he's been in town?
So I cannot tell you anything about as it relates to the room and anything that they may have found in that space, but we do know that he did not have a car here in the District of Columbia. His car was still at his location, the address in Chicago. Bob.
Mayor Bowser, just to react to the letter from the police union president.
I don't really have anything more to say than the chief said, Bob. It's unfortunate when the city was experiencing a real tragedy, a shooting where all law enforcement was engaged in this investigation and bringing people to justice and sending the clear message to our community that we're standing together. That one of our labor officials would choose to send a letter at that time. That was an unfortunate decision on his part. But thank you, everybody.